Have you seen the AI ran schools that only have 2 hours of classes and yields oh, that reminds me of a topic. The main topic. All right, so you mentioned this one. It's about AI ran schools. Okay, first of all, I'll say, I think this is interesting in that I have personally used ChatGPT and DeepSeek to learn things. I feel like it actually helps, especially when it's quizzing me. A1 teachers. Like if I put in something that I want to learn and I ask it to really challenge me on it, that's how I noticed it started glazing. That's why I made that video about glazing, is I noticed it was like being way too nice to me. Before it used to be like, no, you don't have it quite right. Here's this. But then it started to get really cut into kind, like, okay, great, yeah. And I think a school designed around customized instruction that is constantly having this feedback loop where you're told if you're wrong so you can learn quicker and learn at your own pace is a cool idea. However, we need to talk honestly and seriously about the truth of right now, which is that AI is destroying all of the academic project that has existed. The whole concept of academia right now is destroyed. It has been ripped through completely. This is a James Walsh article called "Everyone is Cheating Their Way Through College." You know, we've discussed this and it's obviously kind of well known, but this article goes very in depth, including student interviews and teacher interviews, and just to basically say that college as we have collectively known it for a long time, even high school, is done. It doesn't work, and it hasn't adapted yet. It is still trying to do old methods that are just destroyed by ChatGPT. People who are currently in college are not really doing college as it existed because ChatGPT has broken it so fundamentally. And this is just an example. It shows like this concept that people have latched onto. Write the essay as a college freshman who's a little dumb. People have adapted to the idea that there's a certain way of ChatGPT speak that is kind of figure outable, but now they're just adding to the prompt to make it more like their thing, and they use it consistently. It is just breaking the system. I want to show some more quotes because they're so interesting. This one. College is just how well I can use ChatGPT at this point, a student in Utah. Professors and teaching assistants increasingly find themselves staring at essays filled with clunky, robotic phrasing that is grammatically flawless, but doesn't quite sound like a college student or even a human. I just dump the prompt into ChatGPT and hand in whatever it spat out. This person put their full name, Columbia University. I mean, this is common now. This is not a rarity. This is not like some students. This is fully understood by the majority of the college population. And they are collectively, even if some individual people are breaking it, it has broken the contract. It has broken the system, and the system has to be changed now, and that's gonna take time. And so this part in the middle is like weird and kind of useless. It's people paying money to cheat for 4 years and get a degree. As opposed to the honorable way, which is paying money to play League of Legends for 4 years and then get a degree, okay? That was the honorable way to do it. 2.5 years later, after the ChatGPT bomb has been dropped in the world, students at large state schools, Ivies, liberal arts schools in New England, universities abroad, professional schools, and community colleges are all relying on AI to ease their way through every facet of their education. I spend so much time on TikTok, hours and hours, until my eyes start hurting, which makes it hard to plan and do my schoolwork. With ChatGPT, I can write an essay in 2 hours that normally takes 12. Bro, that is A1 steak sauce cooked. That is cooked. And what is wild, what is the dark, dangerous core of this is that a person who isn't on TikTok for hours and hours and tries to write their own essay, there's a very good chance their essay could be worse than this person's. It could get a worse grade. Like with the right prompt, this person could have a better essay. That's devastating to the meritocracy of it. People in chat are saying it's okay to get bad grades, and I think philosophically that is true. In a way, you kind of want the bad grades so you can, but in practice, in the real world, in the way we approach college and the way people are fearful of their future job prospects and want every leg up they can get, that is not how it works. And we all know it. That is not how it works. Anyway, next thing is like, I use AI a lot. like every day. And I do believe it could take away that critical thinking part, but it's just, now that we really rely on it, we can't really imagine living without it. A freshman finance major at one of the top universities. Top universities. Anyway, it goes into more. STEM students are using AI to automate their research and data analysis and to sail through dense coding and debugging assignments. Generative AI chatbots take notes during class, devise their study guides and practice tests, summarize novels and textbooks, and brainstorm, outline, and draft their essays. It isn't as if cheating is new, but now, as one student put it, the ceiling has been blown off. Who can resist a tool that makes every assignment easier with seemingly no consequences? That is a great question. And what's so interesting, though, that's why I have a unique take on it, is that I have seen in my own life, as someone who is I like to learn. I'm learning outside of school. I consistently try to learn. And AI is, in fact, an incredible learning tool. If it was just a good cheating tool, that would be one thing. But it's actually an incredible learning tool. But it's so interesting that the way that school has been set up, it just breaks all previous ability to check if someone has learned. It's just this weird middle period. Might have to pivot to a full exam style, no assignments. I don't know how they do it, but something obviously has to change, right? Because the idea is demoralizing for the students and for everyone else. That so much of school becomes a kabuki theater that becomes this show and tell of teachers pretending to grade assignments that you pretended to write. That's a weird smoke and mirrors, always was, not true. Obviously not true. Obviously not true. There's a clear difference post ChatGPT and pre. Stupid questions, but do presentation and projects work better than papers? Maybe. I mean, anything would work better. And obviously you can do in-person exams, though people cheat at those, obviously. Phones break a lot of this. It's very difficult to keep track. I don't think there's an easy, airtight solution here at the way it was designed. Yeah, dude, it really sucks watching my friends turn in work fully written by ChatGPT and getting better grades than me. I'm just trying my best on my own. That's what I'm saying. It's like that motivator, in human history, when situations like this happen, people cave. Maybe not you, but most people cave in that situation. That's how it works. That's just how humans work, because the incentives are not good. Something has to give. There's an incredible pressure when you see so many people around you using it and seeing zero negative repercussions. Exactly. And so any solution that revolves around like shaming people into not use it, or saying things like, well, you should do the hard thing because you'll do better in life, are not solutions. Those are throw them out. It's a useless. If you're not countering this problem, then you are not being serious about the problem and you're not being serious about the solution. That's just cope, It's like jumping for a chicken, but the AI lets you stand there and get a full 5-course meal. Yeah, it's like a macro that always gets you the beef in a way, so you never have to make the risk of jumping. What I do in my classes is I give them assignments, then oral examination where I discuss the content with the students and base the grade off of that. I tell them, I don't care much about tools you use, but you better understand everything you write. This is very interesting. The difficult part is it's way more work intensive on your part. I think obviously we've known forever that small classes with dedicated teacher one-on-one time and instruction work better. But universities have now come to rely, especially a lot of them, on larger class sizes and abilities to monetize that many students. So it becomes very difficult. Additionally, obviously there's people that can't speak as well as they can write, and now they're in trouble. It's tough. But I agree that if you're like purely want to test someone's knowledge, having a one-on-one conversation with them about a subject, and they can use AI all they want to study and learn for that conversation, is pretty smart. But it's kind of subjective. I mean, again, one conversation in the moment, you could choke, you could freeze up, you could go down the wrong path of dialogue and end up not saying your full thoughts. You could, it's still got you only get out of college what you put in. The cheaters will be clueless when they graduate. Yeah, but again, this is an idealistic and kind of silly way of looking at it. What you get out of it is a degree. Most people are looking to get a degree, and that person has gotten a same degree from the same school as you. The person next to you that's cheating. And so even if you're 100% right that this person can never figure it out and they won't be able to bullshit in real life, well, that person, if they get hired and they can't do a good job, has devalued your degree in the eye of that company. It makes your degree less valuable, even if what you're saying is true. And I don't think it's true. It's not as open and shut as that. And again, some aspect of it, learning how to use ChatGPT or AI in general, could be helpful for the way jobs are changing. So not using it all is also not the perfect solution. What I'm saying is, it is a tough challenge, And what sucks about it is that the colleges are totally unprepared to deal with it. They're just totally they're just panicking. It has been foisted upon them. They're panicking. Good thing we have a very smart Secretary of Education tackling this problem. Good thing we have an A1 Secretary of Education to really think holistically about this whole problem that is ripping through education right now and have a brilliant insight. I trust her to like really get to the bottom of it. Doesn't this apply to homework though? Exams are content-based. I mean, listen, my readings and my family and friends who are younger, who are still in college, inform me that in many places, I'm not saying every school ever all the time, but it's very easy to cheat. Online exams, even in person with phones or laptops, there's just the ability to cheat, even in an exam, is still very high. So it's difficult to say that it's test laptops are a thing. Yes, I'm sure there's an arms race you can go on, but just understand that it's a difficult one because people are finding a lot of ways around it. Including, I mean, now there's the ability, like, let's say it's test laptop. You can take out your phone, you can screenshot the question and have AI answer it for you on the phone. There's just a lot of things. So it's like the ability to have a mega mind in your pocket at all times is breaking the system, is what I'm saying. AI glasses, AI, so the system doesn't, exactly. Yes, the system hasn't changed. I think that's the whole point of my statement, librarian. I think we should go to a more instructive style where everybody watches Northern Lion clips on a constant rotation until he discusses something about the subject. And then it sort of internalizes in your brain and that way you don't even need AI. Or AI can summarize the clip for you, but equip every classroom with a small EMP. Just wiping out all the students' new MacBooks at the start of every lesson. There's a badass teacher walks in, cheat now. I mean, there was this situation in, so they have what is the test in China called? The Gaokao? I might not got it right, but it's like a very, very important test after equivalent of high school. Extremely important test, like a SAT on steroids, okay? And there was a district in China. Maybe it's a province, not a province. No, it's just like one school. It's one school district. So I guess a district where they extra cracked down on cheating. Okay. So they showed up and they had like extra security. They scanned every student. They made sure that nobody could bring in like a secret calculator or a phone or whatever. They like totally cracked down for this Gaokao. And parents started showing up to protest. They were getting furious because they were saying, hey, it's unfair that this one district doesn't have the right to cheat when everyone else in the country has the right. My kid's gonna fall behind. They were getting freaking out because it's such an important test. But you see, this is the weird thing that happens with incentive. It's their kid's future, right? And as we are in an environment where I think the average college student is looking at the job market and realizing, oh shit, it's getting more and more competitive. It's the time where the pie isn't growing, so everybody wants their own slice. People are like, well, even if I don't feel good about cheating, they're like, I have to do it to get an edge. Imagine how much more League you could play if you had AI at ASU. That's such a funny thing because I could not have fit more League of Legends in it if I tried. That would have changed almost nothing in my experience, dude. At least sophomore year. Sophomore year was like a fully cooked on League of Legends. I had to explain to my 14-year-old niece that ChatGPT isn't infallible and you get answers wrong constantly. Her personal concept was that GPT is a perfect representation of all human knowledge and nothing but facts. Yeah, it's tough. I don't disagree with you. I think you're absolutely correct, but I think of it similar to Wikipedia, where I don't have a negative view on you using it to learn. Because teachers used to be like, Wikipedia gets things wrong, you can't trust it. And I always felt it was a little bit of a boomer take, because like, it's mostly right most of the time. So especially, I think with ChatGPT, my experience, if you're using it for like things that are well known, things that would be on Wikipedia, like history or whatever, it's mostly right most of the time. But the problem is ChatGPT and most AI tools in general are really helpful if you already know most of what you're talking about, because you can easily check. It makes things quicker, but you can check. The problem is, as a younger generation becomes more AI reliant, they don't get to learn like the expertise. This happens a lot in coding. So like if you're already really good coder, AI helps you speed up a lot and you can sort of check it and you have the foundation. But because there's a new wave of people that have only learned through AI, they have no expertise to fact check. They have no, that's where it's weird. That's why I think it's cooking a lot of entry level people. EU will probably introduce watermark for most used AI, so it's going to be easier to catch. Seems tough. I mean, I feel like it's an arms race again where somebody will introduce the de-watermarking thing, or yeah, I don't know. That seems tough to catch, but I'm open to the idea, I guess. You should invite Trump on the Lemonade Stand. We have a standing open invite to Donald Trump for the Lemonade Stand. One day he'll take us up on it.